We're ready for our final session. I've been speaking to quite a few of you individually, and it's amazing the realizations that you're getting. What I hear from so many of you is that you have got it. You've clicked on it. It is possible to be Krishna conscious. It is possible in this day and age. Shut the window. To follow Krishna's instructions. And what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita is not simply some kind of religious belief. It is spiritual science of the highest order, and it's just waiting for you to enter the laboratory and apply. So many of you that I've talked to are research persons, engineering, biomedical, physics. Krishna is inviting you to please enter the Bhakti laboratory. Why wait until some crisis hits? You already have a crisis. What's the crisis that you already have? A temporary material body that sooner or later will cause major problems. So the intelligent person realizes that you want lasting happiness, but you're stuck in a temporary material body in the temporary material world. So there's a contradiction. Let's talk a bit about momentary happiness. What's another way we can think about momentary happiness? We can call it ice cream happiness. You all know what the happiness is for a moment of eating some ice cream. It pleases your tongue. But how long does the good feeling last? So momentary happiness in our life is like that. And for such momentary happiness, we're going to struggle so much and work so hard. Many of you mentioned the happiness you would get when others whom you value think, oh, you're doing nicely, you have done nicely. But even that is so momentary, so flickering. The so-called happiness that you get because, oh, I have pleased someone, I have pleased someone's material conceptions. So slight. It's like a drop of water in the desert. So why should we base our life simply on momentary ice cream happiness? When the ice cream, especially on a hot day, touches your tongue, and the coldness of the ice cream and the flavors in the ice cream make you feel happy for a few moments. And you're going to work so hard all your life and tolerate so much abuse and struggles just for that momentary ice cream happiness? But there's another kind of material happiness also. It's called overall life happiness. You have the feeling when you look at your life as a whole that it's good. You overlook any disasters, any setbacks, and you try to think that your life is heading in a good direction, even though there were so many problems before. Even if you try to convince yourself of this overall life satisfaction, the life is going to end. Some of you were saying, but if you have done good for others, if you have tried to please others, then before you die, you'll feel peace. But what happens when you die? Is that it? Where is the science that teaches you how to prepare for death, how to prepare for your next body? If you're living in some house, you're renting some house, and you know that at any moment, without announcing, the landlord can kick you out. How secure will you feel? How many ladies would feel secure in a situation where you just got married and your new husband says, come over from India, I have a great house for us to live in. So you come over from India, say goodbye to your family. Now you've united with your husband in Melbourne. He shows you, this is where we'll live. And it looks like a nice house. You say, oh, this is very nice. And then he explains, only one minor problem with this house. At any moment we can get kicked out. Any moment, day or night, we can get kicked out. And there's no advance warning. How many ladies would say, oh, very nice, I don't mind, it's okay. No, you would scream. You'd get on the phone to India. Your parents would call your husband's parents. Your parents would feel so bad that we saw his profile on Śrīmad. It seemed very nice. But now he's got you living in a house in which you can be kicked out any moment, night or day, with no advance warning. But suppose your husband says, but it's a nice house, isn't it? Look at the furniture. Look at the colors of the wall. Would that pacify you? No, you say, all that is momentary. At any moment we can be kicked out into the street. So then suppose your husband says, oh, it is true. At any moment we can be kicked out into the street, but what we'll do next, don't worry about. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. When we're kicked out into the street, then we can make some other plan. You would never accept that. You want to know, what is the plan now? What's the next house? What is the next house going to be? I don't know, we just take it as it comes. We trust in God. No, you would never accept that. But when it comes to our next body, this is the attitude we have. I don't know. The main thing is to try for the success in this life. What happens next? Who can say? This is madness. And it's this kind of madness that people are calling civilization and progress. The greatest intellectuals are from India, and they say, we protest against this kind of life. This is not human life. When you don't care what your next life will be. Or when you say, this life is all that there is. One life is all you get. Like the adverts for fitness centers. One body, one life, one opportunity. Is that what you think? So why wait for a disaster to start your thinking process? Understand that the body you have now will be finished any moment, whether today or tomorrow. What is your plan? What's your program for how to get the best possible body in your next life? How to train your children and your other family members so that they understand how to live in the best way for this life and the next life. Let's look at the first verse of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is Arjuna. He's in such a tight squeeze. He's between a rock and a hard place, as they say. Should we wait until we become like this before we start to inquire into what is the supreme absolute truth? Let's chant. Sanjaya Uvacha Tam Tata Kripaya Vishtam Ashru Purna Kulekshanam Vishidantam Midam Bhakyam Uvacha Madhusudanaha. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words. So why should you wait until you get into that state? Although keep in mind that Arjuna is demonstrating this situation just for our benefit. Krishna, being the master of the senses, has put Arjuna into depression just so we can see what it's like. Otherwise, Arjuna is an eternally liberated soul, associate of Krishna. But Krishna is using him to show us, by example, what it's like to be in Maya, to be in illusion. Why wait till it comes to this? When the death of someone near and dear to you happens. Or when your own death is coming. There's some great disaster. People don't know. They don't have the knowledge to situate themselves properly. What example can I think of to impress this point upon you? You may remember, when was it that the huge tsunami hit South India? What year? 2005.
Boxing Day 2005.
Yes. So you know, on the beaches in South India, there were people, and many of them were fishing or doing other things on the beach. And all of a sudden, you know what happens before a tsunami comes? The water, the shoreline recedes, and the whole shore becomes uncovered from water because the water pulls back in such an extraordinary way, like never been seen before. Remember? You know that's what happens before a tsunami? The water pulls way back into the ocean, and you see the floor of the ocean. No water. So what did the people do? Who knows? They all ran into the newly uncovered sand to find so many objects, so many sea animals, seashells. They thought, this is wonderful. Some persons, though, had knowledge. Some persons had some scientific knowledge. And what do you think they did? They ran the other way, screaming, tsunami, tsunami, run, run. And what did most of the people do? What are you talking about? This is beautiful. Look at this. The whole ocean has receded far back for a kilometer. And we can see we can walk out into the ocean for a kilometer because there's no water. And look at everything that's revealed. We might find some riches. So the people didn't listen. What could the persons with scientific knowledge do? They just kept running for high ground. And of course, soon thereafter, the tsunami came roaring in. And caused such devastation. So we're like that. We're playing around in the material world. Oh, this is my career. Oh, these are my relatives. They want me to do this and that. Meanwhile, the tsunami is coming, but no one cares. The tsunami of time. But still, we've been discussing how to balance your material and spiritual affairs. Material life will always produce this kind of situation that Arjuna is demonstrating. Always. There are always setbacks. Economic setbacks, job setbacks, marriage setbacks, immigration setbacks. On and on it goes. Let's see what Krishna tells Arjuna in the next verse. Next one. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Justamasvaryam Akirti Karamarjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the progressive value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy." So there is a standard for civilization, for someone who knows what are the progressive values of life. And we want to hear about that from Krishna, who's chastising Arjuna. How has this contamination fallen upon you? This is not the way a civilized human being thinks. A civilized human being doesn't think simply in terms of his body and his bodily relations. You see that term, Bhagavan, we spoke about. What does it mean? It means the possessor of all opulence. That is the terminology, the nomenclature for Krishna. The one who possesses unlimited opulence. Unlimited wealth, strength, fame, beauty, renunciation, knowledge. You've never ever seen or heard of a person like Krishna. Now let's talk about the different ways that someone can know Krishna. There are preliminary ways, incomplete ways. Someone may know Krishna as the impersonal Brahman, the all-pervasive spirit. That's like knowing the sun by just understanding the sunshine. We can see, still it's daylight. That means some sunlight is there. But that you're seeing the sunlight, does that mean you're seeing the sun? No. So the sunlight, the daylight, is a preliminary, incomplete manifestation of the sun. So that is like the impersonal Brahman understanding, the all-pervading spirit. We spoke this morning about how many yogis and swamis in India are mistaken to think that the daylight is superior to the sun planet, that Krishna's impersonal spirit energy is superior to Krishna. No, the daylight is emanated by the sun planet. Similarly, the impersonal, all-pervading spiritual oneness energy is emanated by Krishna himself. As he says in Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. I am the basis of the impersonal, all-pervasive spirit. Just like the sun planet is the basis of the daylight, the sunshine. You can still go further though. Bhagavad Gita will teach you. Beyond Krishna as the impersonal spirit is Krishna as God in everyone's heart. You'll find the complete whole within every part. That is Paramatma, the Supersoul. You are the Atma, the particle of non-material consciousness, and then there is the Paramatma, the Supreme Consciousness that is there with you in your body. But Krishna, as the Paramatma, the Supersoul, is never touched by matter. But we have problems due to material contact. And then the last word in spiritual understanding is Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who possesses unlimited opulence. Never before have you seen such a systematic, comprehensive spiritual system of knowledge. You all have been studying so many things. but your intelligence will meet its greatest accomplishment when you study the science of Krishna. And that is what life is meant for. That is what your brain, your intelligence is meant for. Not that, oh, I just want to be a true believer. That's being lazy brain. No, apply your intelligence to the science of Krishna. Hear what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita and apply it. The research has already been done by Krishna. Now you apply the spiritual technology. So I was happy to hear today that so many of you are planning to do that. I realize that a lot of lifestyle adjustment is going to be required. And we have so many guides who can help you do that. They have families, they have children, they have relatives in India. They know how to handle all that. So all the means for success is here. Bhagavad Gita and guidance to put Bhagavad Gita into action. And that way you can have the best life for yourself, your spouse, and your children. Otherwise, what are you going to tell your children? Are all the men here going to be brahmacharis? No, almost all the men here will marry. What will you tell your children as they grow up in Australia? You see, with each generation, the traditions become less and less. So you are the hybrids. Your children, though, are not going to be hybrids. They're going to be full-on Australian, no matter how much you try to prevent that. They're going to tell you, grandmother is in Gujarat, that's her business, we are here. What are you going to say then? What are you going to do? If you haven't set a proper example of a spiritual lifestyle for your children, what do you expect them to do? They'll look around and see other kids who seem to be having a good time, getting intoxicated at 12 years old, having boyfriends and girlfriends at 12 years old. What are you going to do about it? Unless you have shown spiritual science in action, they won't have a proper example. Your kids won't have a proper example to follow. If you just tell them, no, you shouldn't do like this, your grandmother in Gujarat would not approve, that's not going to work. Say, all our friends are doing like this. I often tell the story. Some of you have heard it before. It's a true story. I was doing a program at a wealthy gentleman's house in the suburbs of Sydney. And actually it was Canberra. And he told me he has a 7-year-old daughter. And she came home from school one day and said, Daddy, when are you and Mommy going to live in separate houses like all my friends at school? It would be so much fun, Daddy. One I could spend, just like my friends. I spend 1 week in Mother's house, 1 week in your house. When are you going to do it? Yeah. All the parents in his daughter's family, in his daughter's school, they are divorced. So the child was just thinking and repeating based on what she heard from her friends. Oh, this is the way actually it's done. Mother and father live in separate houses. So what are you going to say? You'll tell your children to study hard, prepare for a good job. But they want to have fun. What example are you going to show them about higher pleasure? Right? Right? You're going to school, you see it all around you, right? But your parents, they're teaching you how to taste the higher pleasure. They're teaching you the higher reality. Otherwise, if they simply said, Shamsundar, don't do this, don't do that, with no higher understanding. You would listen at first because you're a good boy. But after a while you start thinking, why not do those things? All my friends at school are doing those things. Why don't mommy and daddy live in separate houses? So please take this very seriously, not simply for yourself, but for your children also. How to engineer a spiritual lifestyle. It is completely possible. So if there's one thing we want you to assimilate when you leave here this weekend, please at least understand it is completely possible to have a spiritual lifestyle, a pure lifestyle, even in this material world, in these material circumstances. Completely possible. It depends simply on your lifestyle management and prioritization. Any last questions? It's been a great weekend with you all. Your questions that you asked were very enlightening for everyone. But maybe you have some last ones. Some last doubts. Swami, we've heard what you've been saying for 2 days, but... Yes.
I was just wondering why Krishna was born in India and all the story happened in India, and why did the Avatar Lord Chaitanya also came to India?
To show you that those who take birth in the land of Bharat have a special responsibility for the world.
And why in the first place Krishna came to India and the battle Kurukshetra from Mahabharata time?
Because that is his favorite place. Therefore, those who take birth there have a special obligation to not simply do IT. They need to understand the real IT. The real information technology is bhakti. How to know and love God. As I said yesterday, the sun rises first in the east, but the sun is for the whole world. Similarly, Krishna appears in India, but Krishna is for everyone. No one criticizes the sun. Don't shine on me, you come from the east. As we said earlier, people should take the best, no matter where the best appears. As I said earlier, if I give you a top-of-the-line Mercedes, will you reject it? Oh, it's a German car. I cannot. It'll be an insult to India if I accept a German car. No, if you accept the top-of-the-line Mercedes, and are you married now?
No.
Well, you'll be married soon. When person's possible candidates back in India hear, oh, he's driving a top-of-the-line Mercedes. Put that in your profile on Shardiya.com. So you won't reject it because it's a German car. You want the best car that your money can allow. Similarly, knowledge of Krishna is the best. You take it and apply it. Don't be a true believer. Enter the laboratory, make the test. Be a research scientist in Krishna Bhakti. Otherwise, why am I doing this? It's not my family tradition. but I wanted the best. Very good question. Anyone else? Way in the back, yes.
Maharaj, so far we have been talking about only Krishna.
Yes.
But there is something in a lot of people's mind that there are so many other gods as well. So why not follow them?
What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the law book. He says that kamais taistaya hitagana prapadyante nadevata. Those who have distorted intelligence worship the demigods for some temporary benediction, for some temporary benefit. It's like bribing some lower city official rather than go to the chief and get permission. Just like in Delhi, I know one devotee, he has a construction business, and he always has to go to get government permission to do this, to do that. And the usual way to get permission is what?
Right.
Yes. But then the government said, we're going to stop all this bribery in all the offices for where people go to get construction permits. We're going to put cameras. So what do you think happened? Huh? Everyone just went outside. Please step outside my office. Similarly, demigod worship is like bribing lower officials. Actually, the demigods are much more satisfied if you approach Krishna. I've been talking today to quite a few of you who grew up worshiping Lord Shiva. But Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. He's the greatest devotee of the Lord. He's most pleased when you serve Krishna. So don't try to bribe the parts. Demigods are parts. They're not the complete whole. This hodgepodge concoction that you can worship any god. This is not in the Vedas. This is not Bhagavad Gita. It's someone's concoction. Take any road you want, it gets you to the same place. What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? He explains, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. I'm the origin of everything, spiritual and material. Everything emanates from me. Everyone is subordinate to Krishna, even the demigods. Because people don't have knowledge, they worship the demigods. It's like someone who doesn't know the political system. They think some village mayor is the all in all. And they don't understand there's a prime minister. Due to ignorance, they're illiterate. They don't understand. They think the village mayor is the chief. When far beyond the power of the village mayor is the prime minister. So this is what happens when people do not know the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. You water the tree at the root and all the branches blossom. Don't try to water each individual branch, whether demigod or not. Put the water at the root. That is Krishna Bhakti. So we need to correct this ignorance with knowledge. Yes.
Radharani?
That is an advanced question. She is Krishna's pleasure energy. Krishna never goes outside of himself to enjoy. He has his own pleasure energy. Therefore, Krishna is always self-sufficient. Radha Krishna means energy and energetic source. The sun is always with sunshine. Similarly, Krishna is always with his energy. Krishna has particular energies to give him pleasure. He does not enjoy anything material. Radharani is nothing to do with material. Not in the slightest. But it's very advanced subject matter because we can mistakenly think, oh, she's a girl like I know.
Krishna get power and energy from Radha.
That's very advanced subject matter. How, out of pure love, a devotee can conquer Krishna. Krishna wants to come under the control of his devotee's pure love. That is bhakti at its highest level.
It is also said that when we just pray to Radharani, directly we just pray to Radharani and we can easily get the blessings of Krishna.
And you know how you should make that prayer? Hare Krishna. Hare refers to Srimati Radharani, the energy of Krishna. So when you say Hare Krishna, you are appealing, oh Lord, oh energy of my Lord, please engage me in your service. That's how you do it. Got it?
Thank you.
Start at the beginning. Don't jump to the top of the tree. Yes.
Can you explain about the after death and the next birth, the rebirth?
What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Yanti Devamrita Devan Pitra Yanti Prati. Those who worship the Devas, they'll go to the Devas. Those who worship the ancestors will go to the ancestors. Those who worship the ghosts and spirits will go to them. But those who worship me, Krishna says, they'll go to Krishna. So everything depends on what you do with this life. That determines where you go in your next life. Are you concerned? Don't worry, what happens, happens. Do whatever you like and don't worry. Just go eat at Sizzlers and what's that beer from India they sell here?
Kingfisher.
Drink Kingfisher. Go to clubs. Do what you like. Who can say, next life, who knows? Why should you care? Yes, this is madness. There are laws of nature. And if we break those laws, there's karmic reaction. The intelligent person is concerned. What are the reactions to all the actions I'm doing? Very good questions. Yes.
Because the Bhagavad Gita is 5,000 years old, and I think some verses might have gone obsolete, like, just give some example, like the one shloka about yajna. With yajna you get rain, and with rain you get food, so yajna is most important. But these days the yajna, agni, so that is not really feasible. I don't believe in that yajna, putting fire and...
But that is not the only yajna. Chanting Hare Krishna is also yajna. It's called Sankirtana yajna. the yajna of congregational glorification of Krishna.
Yes, so I mean the verse as it is.
I'm telling you the verse as it is.
No, it says.
Yajna Shistashino Santo Mutyante Sarva Kilvasa.
Yeah, with yajna you get the rain. That
Yes.
That one.
Anad Bhavati Bhutani. All living entities subsist on grains, and grains come from rain, and rain comes from sacrifice.
Yes.
So you're right. The yajnas for the demigods don't work in this day and age. Therefore, take to the supreme yajna. Chant Hare Krishna. That is the supreme yajna. In this age of Kali, in this age of darkness, the other yajnas don't work.
So some shlokas maybe we can say a little bit obsolete, or we have to understand.
Absolutely not. I already told you. Yajna, Sankirtana Praya. The yajna for this day and age is Sankirtana, glorification, congregational glorification of Krishna. That's also a yajna. We're going to chant Hare Krishna soon, together. That is a yajna. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's more effective than any Agnihotra, any fire yajna.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
In Mahabharata, in the war, how appropriate was the way Karna was killed?
What did Krishna say about that? There was no mercy for Abhimanyu, there'll be no mercy for Karna. Abhimanyu was killed unfairly, right? How many Maharatis?
7.
7, yes. Unfair. He was just a young boy. How can you accuse Krishna, who is Dharma himself, of being immoral?
I'm not accusing anyone.
Sounds like when you're asleep at night in your house and you hear some footsteps in your house. Who's there? Who's there? You call out. And the thief says, I'm not stealing. So, Krishna knows the perfect reaction for everyone's actions. Krishna is Dharma himself. You cannot say, oh, why is Dharma personified doing this? Krishna can make and break the rules as he likes because all the rules are meant for attaining Krishna. Just like sometimes people say, why does Krishna dance with other people's wives? Is that going to be your next question? But everyone belongs to Krishna. So the question then is, why are you dancing with Krishna's wife? All living entities are Krishna's parts. He says that in Bhagavad Gita. Mamayvam sho jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. You living entities are all my parts, no matter what kind of body you have. Sarva yonishu konteya, morteya sambhavanti. You should know that all living entities, no matter what kind of body, I am the seed-giving father of them. Everyone belongs to Krishna. How is it I can speak from Bhagavad Gita? It's not my family tradition. My grandmother didn't read me stories from Mahabharata. She was reading Bible stories. But just as I have learned, you can learn also. Yes.
What's the relation between Krishna and Vishnu?
Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna for the purpose of maintaining the material world. Krishna himself only enjoys. That's why he carries a flute. Krishna is all play and no work.
Because in some of Vishnu Purana, all they say that Vishnu has many avatars, and Krishna was one of them. And all of the avatars died in human
It
form.
is not the deepest knowledge to say that. But anyway, if you want to say that, it's okay.
Yeah, I was just asking because I was confused in that.
Well, what does Bhagavad Gita say? Why be confused? Krishna says, there's nothing beyond me. That means not Narayan, not Vishnu. Krishna says, I'm the source of everything. That means Narayan, Vishnu, they're all avatars of Krishna. But it is a popular misunderstanding in India. It's all right. It's not the worst mistake you can make. So if you want to think that Vishnu produces Krishna, then all right. Well, Vishnu is also Krishna. Vishnu is Krishna in Krishna's official capacity, administrative capacity. Krishna only enjoys with his associates, his friends, his girlfriends, his parents. No working to maintain the material world. So for maintaining the material world, Vishnu is the official office holder. Yes.
What is the purpose or what is the reason behind Krishna creating this material world? I mean,
Because you
why-
wanted a place where you could imitate Krishna. Yes. You wanted to pretend that you're the controller and enjoyer, and you can't do that except in an illusion. So Krishna created an hallucination so that you could pretend you are the controller and enjoyer.
but what is the benefit to Lord Krishna?
That you learn your lesson. It's like, let's say, when he was a little boy, he might have wanted to stick his finger into an electric fan while the fan is on. And he wouldn't listen. You told him, don't do it, don't stick your fingers near the fan. But he wouldn't listen. He was fascinated by the spinning fan. So what did you do then? As an intelligent parent, you turned off the electricity to the fan, and that means the fan blades were still spinning at a slow speed. And then you said to your son, okay, now you can stick your fingers in. So, what will happen when he does that? But he won't get cut, he won't be hurt. But still, he'll learn the lesson. So that's the purpose of this material world. We wanted to imitate Krishna, we wouldn't listen, we wouldn't take advice. So we are in this place where we can live a dream. Whether it's the India dream, the Australian dream, the American dream. You've heard of the American dream? Do you know why they call it the American dream? Because you have to be asleep to believe it. Other questions? Yes.
How do Indians focus while chanting? It's like while we are chanting, while I am chanting, all the thoughts which did not come in the whole day will come at that time. How to...
Yes, you're finding out how uncontrolled your mind is.
Yes.
Focus on the sound vibration, and gradually the mind comes under control. It took you so many lifetimes to make your mind wild. Why not spend one lifetime to bring your mind under control? It's applied spiritual technology. Just like you design websites. Someone who doesn't know would say, how do you do that? Is it magic? But you know the technology. Similarly, it's the same thing with controlling the mind. You focus on the sound vibration, and gradually the mind becomes under control. Be patient and determined. All right. Speaking of the Hare Krishna mantra, we always end with some kirtan. So I thank you all very much for your kind attention.